As soon as we took the rocker covers off, we knew we had a serious problem here. The oil had emulsified with the water, becoming like Harvey's Bristol cream. If you look carefully, you'll see here that some of the push rods are actually bent. I really can't explain that. This engine we understand was running last September, which is not that far back really. And I can't understand how oil in the water could have brought that about. It's really very, very strange. The corrosion here is really very serious. Could it imply that it's salt water that's mixed with the oil and not fresh? Is that a clue? Yuck! Yuck! And more yuck. This is getting unreal. And what's this? An abandoned love? And this, a special kind of oyster that lives in oil? Here we have Bowman heat exchanger. Now, rather than use the proper adapter between the heat exchanger and the thermostat housing on the engine, somebody has just simply drilled a hole and tapped a thread there, hoping that a plaster of silicone would seal it up. Of course, it doesn't. The backwater rail, they haven't even bothered to tighten the top stud. Securing the top water rail, instead of using an original stud, they've just used a length of threaded bar. I'm not even too sure it's the right thread. The water pump, water clouster, look at that. A clouster, by the way, is an Ulster word, beautiful word. It means exactly what it says. So this boat uses a stainless steel exhaust manifold, water cooled. Nothing wrong with that. We've come across this many times in the past, but they have to be made to a very high standard. The stainless steel must be really good quality and they have to be accurately fabricated. I'm not too sure this one is so accurate, but I don't want to blame it in the wrong. It could quite well be okay. You can see that the water, the salt water, note well, salt water comes in at one end and blows out the other. You can see how the exhaust blows off here into a muffler.
And there's something going on with the head gaskets here. There's marks on there, something about 4th thou, not too sure. Yeah, there's a 4th thou mark there. There's another mark here which I can't make out. So I would conclude that somebody's been at the head gaskets on these engines, on this engine.
But then we start to notice some other funny things about this engine. The injector pipes. One of the injector pipes belongs to an LXB engine, not ALW. And not all the injector pipes are the same length. We really become quite suspicious of the build of this engine. This probably has nothing to do, of course, with the oil in the water. It's an aside.
So, I think we've really criticised this engine enough now. I think it's time we moved on. I'm still quite puzzled. Because I don't know if the engine oil has been polluted by salt water or by fresh water. Now, you could say I can find out if it's fresh water or not by simply tasting the yucky stuff. No, I can't taste any. Whoops. No, I think I can taste salt water. Yes, I can taste salt water there. So it's salt water, it appears, that has polluted the oil. Now, where would that salt water come from? By the way, I would think that that oil is probably 15W40. I would say almost certainly 15W40. It's not SAE 30, which it should be. The proper oil for these engines is classic SAE 30. Okay, so where would this salt water come from? There's two possibilities that I can think of. One is the oil cooler, because it's salt water that comes through the oil cooler. Or another possibility could be the muffler. Remember I said previously in this video that the salt water passes through the exhaust and out from the manifold and into the water lock and the muffler. So that's a possibility. I know that the amount of free space in the muffler is critical. We haven't actually had a chance yet to look at the muffler. Another reason why I'm suspicious of salt water here is the sheer volume of mucky, polluted oil that we took out of the engine. I mean, my lads over in Conwyn took out 2 drums of oil. Now that's 2 drums of yucky white oily mixture. That's 40 litres. And whenever the engine arrived here, I think we could have taken out between another 5 to 10 litres of horrible mucky stuff. So that's another reason to be suspicious of saltwater pollution. But this oil has been polluted over, I get the impression, of a period of maybe about 2 years. They tried changing various things, all without success. And the owner told me that over that 2-year period, the water level in the header tank did not fall. It was steady, which again implies salt water. But in the final phase, just last year, the water in the header tank emptied completely, which would imply fresh water pollution. Okay, there's something else that worries me about this engine, in fact all engines. The oil pressure in this engine, an LW engine, is 45 psi. 45 pounds of pressure per square inch. The water pressure is little above atmospheric. It's little or nothing, because the header tank is here. There just isn't enough height to create pressure. So the natural tendency then is for the oil to flow into the water, not the other way around. Water does not flow uphill. Water, any liquid, flows from an area of high pressure to an area of low pressure. So the natural tendency should be for the oil, the engine oil, to flow into the water circuit. Even the salt water should just carry the oil away. The oil would bleed into the saltwater circuit and be carried away out to sea. You wouldn't even notice it. So I'm perplexed about that. Where has this pollution come from? But anyway, it's all really academic, because I'm not going to take any chances with this engine. I'm just going to give these people a new engine. Everything will be new. So we'll rule out any possibility of components from the old engine being to blame. Okay, enough of that. We'll now move on to the next phase, which is concerned with the new engine and how we've restored that. Thanks a lot.